realtors. Where do you want to be when you are absolutely tired, ready to kick back and binge watch a show on Netflix? Cook one delicious meal, consume one delicious meal. Home. Home is where most of us want to be most of the time, and as your realtor, I'll help get you there. Visit the Lepic Krager website at lkriowa.com and look for me. I'd be honored to work with you.
No matter what industry you're in, it's safe to say service says it all. Hi, I'm Crystal with Sittler's LED Supplies. If you've heard of LEDs and its benefits for your business, farm, or home, make the switch with the company that truly values service and your experience. As the Corridor Business Journal's fastest growing business of 2017, we want to say thank you to our customers and contractors that help grow our business. Let us help boost your business too. Call 1-800-426-3938 toll free to get started.
We're back with Andrew from Carousel Pre-Owned in Iowa City, and it's back to school. Looking at some good cars for that, including a 2014 Ford Fusion Titanium.
This one here is the top of the line for the Ford Fusions. It's super loaded, 83,000 miles, Bluetooth, USB hookups, remote start, all-wheel drive, everything you want in a car.
Cool. You can check it out at Carousel Pre-Owned on Stevens Drive in Iowa City.
This is Randy Larson from Monica's. Thank you to all who voted, because Monica's won Best Restaurant overall for the second year in a row and Best Family Restaurant for the third year. We also earned top 3 in Best Italian Restaurant, Best Pizza, and Best Lunch Spot. I would never claim that we are the best restaurant in town, but I'm so thankful that our customers think so. Congratulations to our whole team, especially the kitchen crew and Chef Sal. It's great to see their hard work recognized.
Hawkeye fans, the Black and Gold Shop is your game day headquarters throughout Iowa, with locations in Iowa City, Coralville, Davenport, and the Jordan Creek Village in West Des Moines. The Black and Gold Shop features custom-made Hawkeye football jerseys and the largest selection of Hawkeye gear from Nike, Under Armour, and Adidas for men, women, and children. You can find a full range of tailgate gear and accessories online at theblackandgoldshop.com and on Facebook. The Black and Gold Shop, the official retailer of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
From the Harty and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
It is your KCJJ forecast, and we have a fantastic weekend coming up here for you. Sunshine today, our high right around 85 this afternoon. The wind out of the south at about 5 to 10 today. Tonight, mostly clear. We're going to drop down to 65 for an overnight low. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 87, and then on Sunday, more sunshine with a high right around 85. And we're going to keep the sunny 80s going right on into next week. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Right now at our studios, it's 70.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes at Walmart in Iowa City and Coralville's High V. AllHawkeyes.com brought to you by Premier Automotive in North Liberty. Hit a deer. Call Premier. Steve Anderson, Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for cars. GT Car and his crew at Supple Siding and Remodeling. Sittler's LED Supplies. Supple's Flowers, the home of 1-800-800-ROSE. Also, the Ox Yoke Inn. Zephyr's Printing and Design and Imprinted Ink on the Penn Mall. And Big Dog TV and Internet. They serve all of eastern Iowa with Dish, DirecTV, Internet, and more. Don't call the 800 numbers. Call local. Call Kevin and his crew at Big Dog at 338-6600. Here's Pat Harty from allhawkeyes.com.
How about the lady in the nursing home? Are you the one who retweeted that?
Yeah.
I figured it was you. I was just looking at that.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. She's dancing to Snoop Dogg.
Yep, with Drake or Patrick.
Everybody loves Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, not everybody.
You don't like Snoop Dogg?
Why don't you like Snoop Dogg?
You don't like him personally?
I don't know. No, I don't like his music.
Well,
I'm not a big fan of his music.
You don't have to be a fan of his music to like Snoop Dogg.
No, he's funny and he's
Whatever you guys say.
He's a game show host.
Yeah, he's a game show host.
Whatever you guys say.
He's a great.
Sure he is.
He's a youth
talent.
coach. He coaches youth.
Yeah.
What do they say?
He does a lot of good.
The two Utes.
Yeah. He does a lot of good.
And My Cousin Vinny.
We should all be a little
one of
more
my favorite
like
movies.
Dogg.
Oh, one of my favorite too.
Yeah.
The two what?
We should all be a little more.
The two U's. All right, go ahead. What? Good morning. Good morning.
Pat, I have a question for you.
All right.
There hasn't been a mystery basketball commitment in the last 24 hours, has there?
No, I know there was somebody on Twitter, I think it was something FAUX Greg Davis.
Yes.
Tweeted that he has a source that says they're going to get a huge commitment here soon. And I reached out to Caker, and he's like, Pat, it's a parody account. He go, don't take any, I never take those serious. I mean, it could always happen, but it's not Xavier Foster. I mean, Tyler talked to his dad. And I would be stunned if it's Trace Jackson Davis, being that he hasn't tweeted anything about Iowa, and he has since tweeted that he had a great in-home with Michigan State and Indiana.
And Indiana.
So, yeah. I mean, those happen. Why, have you heard something else, or are you just talking about what you've heard on social media?
That's just what I've been read on Twitter and on the message boards there.
What are the message boards?
So I was just...
What?
Just the same thing. They posted the tweet.
So it's all the origin of all this is that FAUX Greg Davis?
Yes, and that is it. That's the only mention of this from anywhere that I have seen, and I've checked a dozen things.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess you never say never, but I would be stunned if it's any... No, I mean, it could be a women's. He never said specifically. I mean, maybe the women are going to get a big recruit, but I think the timing of it, the fact that it comes right after those guys visited, to me, Tom, is that just trolling?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
absolutely.
That's our spin on it, but who knows?
Okay, on tomorrow's game, we don't expect to see Smith-Marset. Do you think maybe Tyrone Tracy has a shot at playing?
I don't know. I mean, I know there's been a lot of hype about Ty. He's kind of this year's Brandon Smith, where the media just kind of really jumped on his profile and really made. I don't know. And then they could, because they've got 4 games to use him without blowing the eligibility, of course. And maybe this is one of those games. I just don't know where he is in the pecking order. He may not be as high.
He's not in the top 5 or whatever.
I don't see Kirk being the kind of coach who are just move a guy up 2 or 3 spots in the pecking order just to get him in as a freshman. I don't know. Maybe they will try him, but Kirk has mentioned 5 and 6 and sometimes maybe 7 receivers this year, and he still hasn't mentioned Tyrone. So maybe they're set on redshirt. I don't know what that is, because I think a lot of us, I'm curious, fan or caller, did you fan? Well, he's a fan and a caller.
Yeah.
Did you assume that Tyrone Tracy was going to play a role this year?
That's a good question. I read a lot of the stuff out there online, and I thought, well, and wasn't he the Gatorade Player of the Year in Indiana?
Yes, he was, and now, and Tom knows, we can counter that. But I'm not knocking Tyrone. I haven't written.
No, totally.
But he was also a 3-star recruit, and he had Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. He had no offers from any of those schools, did he, Tom?
No.
I'm just trying to explain to you where maybe how there is an explanation for why he's not playing, because I've had some people reach out to me and say, another classic case of Ferentz sitting on a star. And I think a lot of that's based on what we in the media and what recruiting analysts have written about this kid. And there was a lot of stuff written about him, same way with Brandon Smith last year. There was a lot of this, why isn't Brandon Smith playing more? I've read he's supposed to be so good. Well, never once was that the Iowa coaches saying how good these guys are and how they're going to fit in their plans. It was always us. So to me, if Tyrone Tracy doesn't play tomorrow, I think they're going to redshirt him through the whole year. I could see tomorrow's scenario being a chance for him to get in there, but it's clear that they're not going to, doesn't seem like unless they have to, they're going to use him over 4 games this year. They would like to redshirt.
But we're going to have to see how tomorrow's game plays out, because if it's anything like the last few games against UNI, we're not going to see wholesale substitutions because we're going to be in danger of losing the game.
But no, and I think a lot of fans are wondering, though, because Tyrone Tracy was the Indiana Player of the Year. His stats were incredible. Now, the other thing is, he did a lot of those stats as a running back, so maybe he's transitioning and it's just taking him a little bit of time. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's quite possible. I never, after last year, I'm not expecting anything from freshman receiver, but the way the receivers have played, you sort of think that.
True.
They probably have to have a little more open mind.
I would think so. Yes, no,
than normal.
And you're right though. And receiver to me is a hard position to transition to, and basically just don't always believe what you read. I can't believe I'm saying that as a media person, but just sometimes just keep it in perspective, because we like to write stuff to excite fans and draw clicks and whatever. And if you write a story about, Tyrone Tracy's probably not going to play as a true freshman, he's didn't have offers from these schools. no one's going to want to read that. They're going to be, but if you write that he's the 3A player of the year, great stats, should come into an offense that needs receivers, fans like that. But the problem is you just don't know because until they get here. So we'll see. I mean, I would like to see the kid play. I've seen tape of him, but most of the tape I saw of him was as a running back. And now he's a receiver, and I can't imagine that's an easy transition.
Timmy D had a little trouble with that. So.
Oh, Tim Dwight, if people look back, other than special teams, Tim didn't play as a true freshman. He was third, fourth-string running back, never played. He made
Just imagine that.
I mean, Tim made his mark as a true freshman mostly by returning some punts and whatever, but mostly by going down and breaking the wedge on kicks. That's how Tim Dwight thrilled the fans as a freshman. He barely played during the season for a team that went 5-5-1.
With the running backs of Cedric Shaw,
Tavian
Banks, and then Timmy Dwight.
Yeah, and he never played. He was buried on the depth chart as a true freshman.
I haven't heard, is Nebraska's starting quarterback, is he out this week?
I believe...
I don't think he's out, but he's...
The last I read, he was questionable for this week, but he was not hurt long term. I mean, the concern was that he was out for the year, but that's not it. I think a lot of it will depend on who they play. I mean, who does Nebraska play this week? Do you know, caller?
They play Troy this week.
My guess is if they don't think they need him, they won't play him.
They'll hold him out.
They'll hold him out. But like I said, I don't know what's going on. All I know is Scott Frost says he doesn't want to schedule a 12th game because he thinks they may be in the Big West Championship. I mean, he's the borderline between extremely confident and arrogant. I mean, he brushes that line a lot. I mean, that's a pretty powerful statement to say after a 4-8 season and after you lose your season opener at home.
Yeah, when I saw that, I had a hard time not laughing because, I mean, but he is a Nebraskan, so
that's what they want to hear. That's what
disease.
But you look at their schedule, and there just isn't a chance.
No, and Colorado's good, but Colorado's not world beater. I mean, and they lost at home to Colorado, so they did look a lot better than last year. I mean, Mike Riley had lost that team last year.
Oh, for sure.
But no, I mean, like I said, if he makes it to the Big Ten West Division title this year,
then he's God.
And then then we'll have him go down and tell that hurricane to get off the shore, get away,
and it will.
It's like that Belushi guest. It's the guest that won't leave that hurricane. So,
all right. Well, let's hope it's a good weekend, and let's hope for maybe some more vendors in the north end zone. That would be nice.
So has that been a problem?
Up there on the third level, they had 2 concession stands last week for everybody, and they didn't have anybody out, roaming through the stands like they did in previous years.
That's what they need. Why don't they have anyone out right now roaming the stands with concessions? To me, this would seem like the most reasonable time to do it. I mean, Tom's not paying attention to us right now, but
I thought might be important to bring up the Nebraska football schedule just for fun.
Oh, but okay. Did you see what he wants to know? Why they don't have concession vendors walking the aisles in the north end zone? I wonder if
it's a good question.
I don't think I saw them in our aisles.
Don't they normally do that? Like I said, I haven't been to.
They normally are a nuisance. Seriously.
Well, you mentioned, I don't remember seeing any.
Yeah,
but in fairness to Iowa, I mean, I don't care if they're out trying to make money, but
I understand that and everything.
But why would they not have any on? So you don't remember any from last Saturday?
I don't. But then we don't.
I might have
get anything from the.
I might have seen one trip.
So,
but
was last week unusual, the fact that you didn't see any, whether you use them or not?
Yeah, maybe a little. Huh. But maybe I was watching the game. They could have been.
Okay, so.
Going up and down.
That is unusual, caller. I don't know what to tell you. I know when that thing's going to get done, it's going to be really neat. I mean, it's not done yet. That doesn't do any good for tomorrow or what have you, but I don't know. I'll be checking for that tomorrow. I'm going to check. You guys check, too, while you're there. See if there's less vendors going around. That's interesting.
I don't know.
All right, well, let's hope for a good game tomorrow, and then we can deal with the people from up north next week.
There you go.
Sounds like a plan.
It's a good way to look at it. One game at a time. Thanks, caller. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Okay, so let's just take a quick look at Scott Frost's path to the Big Ten West Championship.
We've done this before. Remember, we've done this one of the times.
So you ready?
I'm not going to play Nebraska fan this time, because remember the last time, when you said the score, I yelled, win!
Okay.
Win!
Next week, not this week, next week at Michigan.
You be the Nebraska fan this time. I'll be the...
Michigan's not what they were.
No,
they're not what they were.
Michigan will beat Nebraska.
Oh, no.
Oh, you're being the Nebraska fan.
Yeah.
Okay, Suter's going to
I'll be the no.
All right.
Scott's got this one. Okay, Purdue homecoming at home. Wow.
Oh, God. Why? If I was Purdue, I'd stay home. We're both going to be Nebraska fans.
Purdue, they're 0-2, and they're going to be 0-4 after
My
this
guess is at halftime, Braum is seen bowing at Frost's feet to tell him to just lay off us in the second half. Just come on.
Okay, so after homecoming, the big homecoming win, no doubt, at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's now, their quarterback's not any good. We've got a great quarterback.
I do. I like it.
He's going to run all over the field against
agree.
Wisconsin.
And I think Frost, the tempo that they play under Frost, Barry may have to come down before halftime to start dealing with that tempo. And I don't think Barry can even handle Scott Frost's tempo. Do you?
And after that big win at Wisconsin, Nebraska travels to Northwestern. That's a high school stadium.
Yeah, and Northwestern only gets up for Iowa, and there's no way Scott will take advantage of that. And I've heard that Fitzgerald's in awe of Scott Frost, so he may not even coach a good game, Fitzgerald.
He may throw the game.
He may throw the game just to help Scott Frost's image build.
Okay, versus Minnesota, they'll row the boat straight on down and out of the state.
Yeah, I think that I don't even know what to say about this one. P.J. Fleck does not have an answer. His oars will not work against Scott Frost. There's no way Scott Frost will allow those oars to advance through water.
Scott Frost would have been in charge of that gas company in Boston, every house would be tough.
Well, then they got a break the next week at Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, new quarterback. They're breaking in a new quarterback.
Absolutely.
The backup behind the new quarterback's only an inexperienced redshirt freshman. And, hey, let's say this is a team that couldn't compete with Iowa last year. So I think Ohio State will be happy if they can keep that within 2 touchdowns.
They'll be and Nebraska's on the roll at this point.
By then they're the big story, and people are wondering if Nick Saban can even handle this storm out of control.
And there's a little bit of a problem the next Illinois. A bit unheralded. I'm scared about that one, but I think we'll win.
What I'm hearing is Frost may actually just send. Is it there or is it in Nebraska?
It says Memorial Stadium.
Oh, that's okay.
I think that's at Nebraska.
I'm hearing that he may just play reserves in that game to help Lovey out of respect for Lovey, and just because he doesn't want to hurt anyone because he knows that Illinois is having problems fiscally and financially and what have you, and he just feels for him, and he will only play reserves in that game. That's what I'm hearing. Captain, have you heard anything?
I've heard that Illinois will be having those problems long after this hurricane is forgotten and everything.
I agree with that. Yes, they've got their own hurricane.
Okay, and then 2 weeks to go after that one. Then Michigan State comes to Nebraska. They'll be beaten up, and D'Antonio. We'll win easily.
I just hope it's a game. By then Nebraska will have so much momentum and confidence. It'll be like the 90s again. People will start parting their hair in the middle and all that. And no, that was the 80s. When did people part their hair in the middle? Remember, and feather it back?
1920.
I kind of part my hair in the middle.
Well, you part your hair everywhere.
Well,
but no, you remember, though, you part it in the middle, feather it back.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the 80s?
Yeah, the 80s.
The 80s. I think that was the 80s.
I didn't have all that much hair in the 80s, so I wasn't doing any feathering.
You were already losing the battle in the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Right. And then last week, of course, at Iowa.
You know, I love the Hawks.
At Iowa.
I know they've had a little bit of luck against Nebraska, but I think it just all changes now. Kirk knows that deep down, doesn't he?
Well, and Nebraska's going to be playing for all the marbles.
Yes,
then,
and Iowa will probably be, 8-3 maybe?
They're always 8.
And Nebraska will be
7-4, 8-3, that's what they always are.
And Nebraska will be in line for a national championship, and I just think they'll have too much to lose. Does that make sense, Captain?
Yeah.
All right, so we got Nebraska 12-0. So I guess Frost is right. Or 11-0. That would be 11-0, right?
Well, I see, honestly, at least 5 losses.
I see at least 5 or 6 strong possibility losses, yes. I'm to the point now with predicting stuff. It's so hard to do.
Oh, it's impossible.
They're not going to beat Ohio State, I can't imagine. They're not going to beat Michigan there.
And they're not going to beat Wisconsin there.
They're just not there yet.
And I don't think they're going to beat Iowa either.
I don't either. Not here, and just not because. And that's not. I'm still not convinced that Iowa's a 12-0 waiting to happen.
By no means.
I'm not no means. But here against a team they've beaten 4 out of the last 5 times, the last 2 times.
And we gave away the other one. We were ahead 24-7 at half.
But the other ones were 40-10 and 56-14.
Yeah.
The games haven't even been competitive. So I understand that he's brought enthusiasm, and he does have a somewhat of a proven track record. Not much as a head coach, but most of that roster is still the same misery that bowed down and died against Iowa back in November. I mean, those guys on defense quit. So all of a sudden, they're just going to be, because of a freshman class coming in, they're going to be a lot better. I mean,
well, and what you said was right. I mean, Mike Riley lost that team last year.
Oh, they were not. Yeah, Scott Frost is. It'll be a different Nebraska team that comes in here. I mean, I don't see Iowa routing Nebraska this year. If I had to pick based on what I see of both teams right now, I see Iowa winning that game like 27-14, 27-17.
I was just thinking 10 points.
Why would he make a statement like?
Because he's trying to rally the man. I mean, he's trying
But that's a pretty haughty statement. Well, if you don't make the Western
remember the stuff he
title,
said
then you look like crap.
Remember what he said at
Big
Ten Media Day? You better beat us now because you better think. I mean, at Media Day, he was, like I said, he kind of almost crossed that line between extremely confident and arrogant, cocky. And I think that's what their fans want to hear right now, and we'll see.
Well, and we're going to see that they're probably going to do, 6-5 or 5-6.
And unlike politics, where you can spin anything to feed whatever narrative that you believe in, sports is cut and dry. You either win or you lose. There's no ifs, ands. There's no gray area. You're either successful or you're not. And politics, you can say people can look at the same thing completely different, and both think they're right.
And the Nebraska fans are going to say, wait till next year. Our quarterback is one of the best in the nation.
He did look pretty good.
Yes, he did.
I will say, he's better than I thought he was. I mean, he's better than...
He looked real good.
He's the younger brother of the other Martinez quarterback, right?
I think so.
He's better thrower than him, better passer already than him. I was surprised at how well he passed. And Nebraska's always had good wide receivers and good athletes at certain positions. Where they've been killed lately is just on the line, in the trenches, and their front seven on defense. I mean, they just haven't been that good lately. So we shall see. But, hey, speaking of, I wanted to ask you guys this. It's not sports related, but I was listening to the news last night and all this hurricane coverage, which I understand it's bad. But can you believe how much more coverage hurricanes get now? But one of the things that's weird is they interviewed some people who didn't leave after they heard the storm was being downgraded from a 3 to a 2. And I think the hurricane, they need to figure out a different way to grade and rank these things, and they need to involve water in the rankings because it's so misleading.
Yeah, it is.
It's so misleading.
Well, again, you've got so the bigger the storm, the smaller the eye. So as the eye gets smaller, they downgrade the category.
But they don't. Water has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Or storm surge has nothing to do with it. They were discussing it, and I think they need to change this because ever since Camille. And I've studied hurricanes. I know I was only 4 or 5. But ever since Camille, which unbelievably hit shore at 190, it's the strongest wind. And they said a Camille had sustained winds at 120, 80 miles into the shoreline. But ever since then, they've been so freaked out on wind. And I just think they need to come up with a way because they interviewed this couple and it was too late for them to leave. They're like, well, we didn't leave because it went from but now in fairness, everybody was told to leave. Now that island in North Carolina, they got 150 people screaming for help. Come and get us.
Yeah.
Even though they were all told to leave.
Well, it's 200 now.
But they all based their fears on wind and to me, I'd rather deal with the effects of a fast-moving Category 4 or 5 than a slow-moving Category 2 or 3
that dumps 30 inches of rain
that
on
just hovers and won't leave.
But
yes,
the category is, when you get out past the eye, you're moving up with winds and water.
The tightest winds on the north side of the hurricane, right off the north side of the eye.
So you get into Category 3 and 4, but they don't measure it out
Everybody's obsessed with the wind factor with hurricanes, and they use that to make their decisions.
And this damn thing is just sitting there.
It's festering. It's like Belushi's character, the guest that wouldn't leave. Remember?
Yes.
One of Belushi's most underrated characters on Saturday Night Live. Only did 3 or 4 skits with him. But it was Dan Aykroyd was the husband, and I believe Gilda Radner, or no, what was the other?
I'm trying to think.
It was either Gilda Radner or Lorraine. It was Jane Curtin was the wife, and he was their friend, and he came there to stay, and they couldn't get him to leave. And then one night they were going out for dinner, and he said he was just going to stick around at home and make long-distance phone calls.
So, okay, going back to Nebraska.
It's already 9:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about Nebraska? What is this, all Cornhuskers.com?
Well, I just wondered, what's going to happen? Are they going to?
They're going to go.
Are they going to make the Western Division before the gym class gets a phone call?
Oh, okay.
No.
You think the gym class gets a call first?
Yes.
Yeah, I do, because I'm guessing the gym class gets a call today.
They
Bet you they do.
They might.
I bet you they may get a couple calls. Why don't you listen?
No.
I'm guessing.
You're me.
Money?
You're cruel.
We got money.
We got money. We'll take a break. Hello.
What's up, guys?
What are you doing, Adam?
Hey, it's Friday, right?
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah. Thank God. It's cliche, but thank God. Here's Adam Haleska, Wells Fargo Advisors with the markets.
Thanks, everyone. Stocks finished higher for the day on Thursday. The Dow added 147 points to 26,145. The S&P 500 gained 15 points to close at 2,904. And finally, for Thursday here, NASDAQ Composite climbed 59 points to close at 8,013 points. 9 of 11 sectors finished higher, led by healthcare. The group paced gains, climbing more than 1.1%, as several companies were subject to analyst upgrades. Technology rebounded from recent weakness as shares of Apple added 2.4% and closed at $226.50 a share. Shares of Qualcomm advanced 4% yesterday to close at $74.59 a share after the chip maker announced a $16 billion share buyback. Looking at today here, the major averages are poised to advance as investors assess a number of economic updates. Yesterday, the U.S. equities finished higher as renewed trade optimism and a lower-than-expected inflation update helped improve investor sentiment. Currently, the Dow is up 11 points, S&P is flat, and NASDAQ is trading up 13 points this morning. Looking at earnings, Adobe Systems is adding 0.5% after the software company topped profit projections. In corporate news, shares of NVIDIA are adding 2.5% after the chip maker was the subject of analyst upgrades. European markets are mostly higher here at mid-session. The Euro Stock 600 is up 0.1%, with automakers pacing gains. Germany's DAX is rising 0.2%, while the UK's FTSE 100 is climbing 0.3%. In Asia, overnight, the Nikkei 225 jumped 1.2%, finishing at its best level since early February, while China's Shanghai Composite fell 0.2% overnight. Treasuries are weaker with the yield on the 10-year note up 1 basis point. That's at 2.98%. In commodities, crude is adding 0.5% this morning and is at $68.43 a barrel. And lastly, gold is up 0.2%, and that is trading at $12.04 an ounce, all despite a stronger dollar. Once again, this has been Adam Haleska with Wells Fargo Advisors, LLC, member SIPC. If you're in the Iowa City, Coralville area, we can be reached at 319-338-3799, or you can always come in and see us. Adam Haleska, Corey Urian, Ted Stoley, and Daryl Courtney. We're all at 501 12th Avenue, Suite 201 in Coralville, Iowa.
Have a good weekend, Adam.
You too.
We're as close as your smart device. Just ask Alexa to play KCJJ on TuneIn. Our video and audio streams are powered by Lucky's Market at the Iowa City Marketplace.
Hawkeyes.com.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank you.
That first half an hour just blew by.
Yeah.
Just blew by, Captain.
Yeah. Yeah.
We only got one call. No,
I've been here since 3 this morning.
Yeah, but why do you have to get here 2 hours before you go on the air?
Well, we went on the air at 4, actually.
So why?
With the
takes hurricane. 2 hours to show prep?
With the hurricane and stuff.
Takes 2 hours to show prep?
I do show prep. But it usually takes me an hour.
Steve is fascinated with weather events.
Yeah, weather events.
Oh, I sort of am, too. Obviously, I know
I'm hearing from, people out there, seriously,
what's the second
that don't have any cable or anything.
What's the second strongest wind hurricane to hit the United States? It has a direct relationship with Iowa football.
I don't know.
Hurricane Andrew, 92. Hit like 2 weeks before Miami played at Iowa. And remember, they handed out the buttons, A Night to Remember, the game in 1992.
And a game to forget.
A game to forget. It was 24-7, but it never felt like Iowa had a chance in that game.
We were actually, there were people listening on the coast to us that didn't have cable, didn't have electricity, just had portable radios. I got
I'm thinking straight, but why weren't they listening to the radio stations out there? Or maybe they weren't up because of the weather.
I don't know, but
that's probably why they're probably.
I got 2 Facebook messages.
There probably wasn't any weather. There probably wasn't any radio. Yeah. Any radio out there.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. I was at that game, Miami, Iowa, Kinnick.
Was it a night to remember for you?
Well,
Well, the only thing I remember was it was warm, and they took up donations for the people down in Florida.
That's right. You're right. You're right.
That's what I remember. Beyond that, it wasn't very memorable.
I'm pretty sure it was 24-7. I mean,
that sounds right.
I think that was the year Gino.
Right.
Wasn't that the year Gino Toretta won the Heisman Trophy?
I think that's right.
The player I remember the most was
good.
Well, the player I remember the most was Kevin Williams, that little running back wide receiver. He put a couple moves on Iowa.
Wore us out.
Yeah. So, and that was at the tail end of Miami's dominance. I mean, they were still good, but they weren't mid-'80s good. But that was still a really good Miami team. But yeah, I remember. I still have that button, A Night to Remember. You got yours, Suter?
No.
You still have your button, caller?
No, I don't.
Boy, man.
Darn it. I wish I did.
You think mine's worth something? First night game at Kinnick?
Oh, it could well be.
That's what that was. That was the first night game.
Was.
I remember how unusual it was. Now it's like they're still really neat, but there's nothing unusual about night games anymore.
No, we got 2 weeks in a row.
Yes.
I had to let you know about the problems KGYM had yesterday with their phone line.
He's already wanting to hear that. God,
poor Todd Brommelkamp and company. They were doing a remote broadcast from a bar up here. At any rate, he goes to his first caller, Sonny from Iowa City, apologizing that he hadn't gotten to him the day before for some reason, and it's silence from Sonny. And then he goes a little bit while later to a scheduled guest who was calling in, and he says, and so-and-so, giving him a nice lead in. And silence at the other end of the line.
Oh, that is.
Oh, you're just heartbroken.
That is.
You're heartbroken. Is he heartbroken?
If we could could we take up a collection to get their fun? They obviously have some problems. And caller, you'll be the first one. What would you like to contribute to?
I would give 50 cents.
When you're in the neighborhood, drop some coins in the germ jar.
Well, yeah,
It'd be the cleanest thing in there.
Yeah. But I was listening on my way home from work.
You've made Captain's day. You should see how big his smile is right now.
I thought Steve would enjoy it.
You thought right. He's enjoying that.
Yes, he is.
He's enjoying that. Petty, vindictive. Petty, is that the right word, Tom? Petty?
Petty is
pretty petty.
Yeah, that works.
Petty works. Well, thank you, caller. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys take care.
Have a good weekend. One of your minions. One of your. Oh, here we go. Now, what's this now? What's this next one?
Hello.
Should we text our donations in?
Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh.
We all. We're all in this.
We got this.
We're all in this.
We got
together.
this for an hour.
Hello. No, we're all in this together.
Hey, Son Suter, what are you drinking this weekend?
He likes that too, but he always blames it on. Although I'll admit, I made up one. I made it up.
Yeah.
You're right. I made it up, but you perpetuate it when he's gone. Yes, you do.
Tom,
way more than I do.
I'm as innocent as.
No, you're not.
Tom, he never says a word about it when you're gone. It's just me.
No, you're
He
not.
fights me. Lots of times I'll start to bring it up, and he comes
completely innocent.
I know you
of
are.
everything.
So. All right.
Now, first thing I will say about the game this week
is we haven't even talked about it yet.
We haven't talked. There was a lot of buzz with the game last week. This week there is no buzz.
Well, I mean, I've read some about Wisconsin. I mean,
it's like this game's already been played, and we already won. Our offensive problems straightened out.
Your buddy in Des Moines said that the players can't look ahead, but fans and media can look ahead to Wisconsin. He says it's going to be the loudest it's ever been. It's going to be for the West Division title. It's going to be this and that. And that's all. People love that on Twitter. Oh, that's great, but that's, to me, that's a lot of disrespect to you and I,
And we have a history of losing games we should win
exactly.
because we played down.
And that's exactly what I wrote the other day. And I picked Iowa to win 31-13, I think. But I think it's going to be about 17-10 in the third quarter, and I think it'll never feel like Iowa's going to lose. But I don't think you can just dismiss this team and get rid. The reason Wisconsin, they won't lose this game on Saturday. They don't lose to Central Michigan. They don't lose to Western.
No,
they don't lose games like that.
You're right.
They don't, and I don't think Wisconsin's looking ahead to Iowa. I don't think its media is. To me, you got to take it one game at a time. Yeah, it's going to be loud next week. The North End Zones have made it louder, but some of the stuff I've read, I'm like, yeah, there is a game against Northern Iowa this week.
Hello.
Just from an observational point of view, I don't know if it's the new North End Zone, but we live up on the north side of Iowa City, and typically during a good play or whatever, you can hear the fans, and we couldn't hear anything at all last week. So I don't know if it's basically focusing all the fan noise right back into the stadium.
That's what I would assume.
We would assume that.
That it's locking the noise in.
It might be the loudest.
Because it was plenty loud.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
but
I think
made a big difference.
I don't know a ton about architecture and what have you, but common sense tells you that if you build a wall, a bigger obstacle for the noise to get out, it's going to stop that noise from seeping out. And I think that's what they're saying. The players saying they can hear that it's a little louder and what have you. And I think that's great. I mean, and the other thing we can discuss, because we can do our own. The guy from the Lansing State Journal ranked his 14 Big Ten venues, and I agree for the most part. I thought he had a couple. I thought he had Michigan too high.
I didn't like I've only been to Michigan once.
I've been there a lot, and it's just, I don't know. It's impressive that it's so big and it surrounds the stadium, but the fans are so far from the field, and instead of being a steep incline where the fans sort of stay above you and hover, it's a real gradual incline to where the people up on top are so far away from the field. It's the kind of game where if Michigan's not just kicking butt or doing something with a lot of energy, it can really get complacent.
I didn't think it was that loud.
No, it's not that loud because the noise has everywhere to escape. And actually, do you want to call that story up? I know he had Iowa number 1. I think he had Camp Randall number 2. And I think those are the two. You could go either one.
I would agree with.
You could go either one. We're going to pick Kinnick because we're biased. A Wisconsin fan would pick Camp Randall probably. And the one thing that Iowa has that Camp Randall doesn't have is the closeness to the field. Nobody in the Big Ten can match that. Camp Randall's got a lot of other things, though. I mean, those suites atop, that is so
very cool.
I mean, that's cool, what have you. I would go Camp Randall number 2. Number 3, this is where it starts to get tough. I thought Ohio State was ranked a little low.
I was pretty impressed with Penn State.
Well, that would be number 3. Penn State would be number 3, just because it's a steeper incline, fans are closer, but 100,000 fans all clad in white. It's pretty
cool.
Penn State to me would be number 3. I'd probably have Ohio State number 4, Nebraska number 5. Now, I've never seen Nebraska when they're good. I mean, I've heard it's incredible, but and then after that, it really becomes hard.
What did you say, number 4, Ohio State?
I would have Ohio State number 4 just because of the sheer size of it. The only thing I don't like about Ohio State is they basically have a track around the football field.
Yeah,
and they're so far away from the action. I don't like that. That's the one thing, because Ohio State really, with its success and the amount of people that are in that stadium, Ohio State should be number 1 on this list. But I don't like the way the stadium's configured, so I can only go 5.
And then when you look at, the bad stadiums, Northwestern, Illinois.
Purdue, Illinois. Now, Illinois, stadium-wise, structure-wise, is okay. It's a neat stadium, but
it's
telling
soulless.
you, to me, Illinois is the worst environment in the Big Ten. Worse than Purdue.
Has Indiana gotten better?
Indiana's gotten a little better. See, the way I'd rank them, because I rank the feeling, not just the structure, I'd have Illinois last. I'd have either Purdue. I haven't been to Rutgers, so you have to take your.
It's not good.
So would Rutgers be better than? The reason I give Northwestern a little bit of an edge over those other ones, because they're all, to me, Rutgers, Northwestern, Illinois, Purdue, and Indiana are all kind of in a group. I give Northwestern the edge because it's usually better than all those other teams, and you can look at the beautiful Lake Michigan right there, but there's always 10,000 empty seats there. They don't follow that team.
And the concession areas
It's
are
bad.
just awful.
Yeah, they've fixed everything around there for the players. Now, eventually, they got to do some more work for the fans.
They got to do a lot of work.
Because I think the fans are making a statement. They're not going to these games, not just because they don't care. There's not a lot of ambience and a lot of reason to go to those games. The stadium itself is not that great. But no, I just didn't. To me, Illinois, I like the environment more at Purdue than I do Illinois. Maybe that's just
actually
me.
I did. Yeah, I didn't.
Illinois is depressing.
I have enjoyed my trips to Purdue,
and that Purdue's made some renovations. I think it looks nicer. But really, though, you've got the haves and the haves not in the Big Ten as far as stadium wise. And in fairness to Iowa, Iowa's won enough to earn that. If Iowa, let's say I'm assuming I wasn't there, but in the '70s, I'm sure Kinnick was a dismal place to be.
And here's our selling points. You're not likely to be spit on by home fans.
Oh, that's something.
Just peed on. No, I'm joking.
Iowa's college football at its purest doesn't get much better, and the Wave. The new Children's Hospital Wave is probably the best thing in the game today.
Yeah, I mean, the Wave is the new selling point, and you got the Swarm. But he also mentions, didn't he say something about how he was sitting in the end zone and he put his foot on the field?
Yes.
About how close the proximity is the big thing.
Yes.
I once sat on with my feet on the field in the end zone.
Yes, I mean that's the thing that nobody else in the Big Ten can match, like Kinnick can. And now
I have not been to Maryland, so I can't speak to that. But I've seen it on TV.
I've been to Maryland Stadium, not for a game, so I don't know the atmosphere.
It didn't look like much.
No, Maryland, Rutgers, and the other four we mentioned. That's half the league has.
Michigan State's not bad.
Michigan State's right in the middle.
Yeah,
it's right there in the
agree.
middle. It's not. I mean, it's okay. It's nothing great, but it's not in that group. You've got, like we said, you've got those 7. Then you've got 5, and then 2 in the middle. Minnesota, I think, is okay. I like Minnesota.
I like Minnesota
I like
State.
TCF Bank.
Yeah, I do too.
Hello.
So, can the temperature be affected by the hurricane that's going on right now here for tomorrow's game and next Saturday's?
No.
I wouldn't think so.
No, we're going to be more affected, the way I understand it, from what's going on in the Gulf in Texas.
What's going on there? Is there a hurricane down there?
They got like 3 or 4.
So could this lead to more rain up here, though?
Yeah, next week.
Okay, we've got a lot of rain next week, so.
I
hope we don't have bad weather.
And it showed rain from like 7 to 11 next Saturday night.
I mean, that's usually what happens when a major hurricane hits here, that we end up getting the spill off from the constant rain. I just hope Iowa, Wisconsin's played in good weather. That'll suck.
Long sleeves for the Wisconsin game, you think?
Ooh, yeah.
What's it saying?
Saturday night, next Saturday night, partly cloudy with numerous thunderstorms.
Lightning.
Chance of storms, 70%.
Is that weather bug?
Yes. Dew point will be around 55, average humidity of 81, winds will be 11 miles per hour from the south-southeast.
What's it say temperatures?
59 degrees at night.
Jesus. There you go.
So with the dew point so high, it'll still feel a little sticky.
I mean, high 50s is pretty high for dew points. So but I just worry about lightning.
I don't know.
But
it could be different.
Yeah, you're going way far out. I've got here, National Weather Service says showers and thunderstorms Tuesday, Wednesday, 50% chance. Then it dies down Thursday to a 20% chance. It's too far out to worry about it now.
But there's a chance. Well, there's always a chance for rain, but
chance.
This, especially now, because it's kind of a volatile atmosphere.
That is very true.
So we'll see.
Well, then if we get, say there is a lot of lightning and everything, we can always get an extra game by playing Regina or the City or something.
Well, City's.
Incarnate Words open on December 8th.
There you go. We got all your answers there for you, caller. What do you think of that?
Thanks for looking on Weatherbug, Tom.
You bet. No problem.
Got a little narrative going on here.
No problema.
I just think that's the...
What?
Well, that's a ridiculous...
About what I was... Incarnate Word?
Yes.
Well, they wanted to play Drake.
Well, I know, and
Drake.
both of them are ridiculous.
I mean, that would be like...
Well, that's ridiculous. You just want a game.
I think Incarnate Word's defense will get better as the year progresses. They've given up over 120 points in their first 2 games.
1-10 last year. They're like the lowest of the low FCS teams.
It's just...
Well, they're basically just buying a victory is what they're doing for $300,000, and they're paying for their plane flight. Incarnate Word's getting $300,000 in a free plane flight up here.
Well, they were going to be beating South Dakota State also.
The difference is South Dakota State's ranked 3rd in FCS. Incarnate Word's probably ranked
100th.
Well, it's one of the worst. It's one of the worst teams, so it's a pretty easy trade-off for Iowa State. It's a little ridiculous, but it's the kind of thing where if I was to say, then you got to deal with a bunch of hornet nest Iowa State fans that are just always waiting to strike. Well, this from a guy who covers a team that can't beat Central Michigan. You'll start getting stuff like that. You know how it works.
Yeah, I do.
You just don't even want to deal with it. Get your little victory over Incarnate Word and enjoy your 6-6. Iowa State's another team. They're going to have trouble getting 6 wins.
Well, they are.
Now that they've they bought this victory, but they lost to Iowa. I don't think they're going to beat Oklahoma. I'll be stunned if they beat Oklahoma this weekend.
I don't think they've ever beaten Oklahoma twice in a row.
No, and I could see. I will be stunned if they lose this game or win this game.
Completely stunned.
I will be praying to God that Incarnate Word just has that one moment in their existence where they actually play right and be. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if that would happen?
Remember when Iowa State lost to Hampton in basketball as a 2 seed, and Hampton was a 15 seed? You remember that?
I do.
I don't know. I don't think that's quite like this. In basketball, it's different when you've only got so few people involved in the outcome. But that was a pretty. Remember when Iowa, with Roy Marble and all those stud players, lost to Cal Riverside in a basketball tournament when Cal Riverside made like 18 threes?
I absolutely do, because my one of my nieces went to Cal Riverside, and she's going into the game. She said, Iowa's going to beat us by 40, and they couldn't miss.
They couldn't miss. And I remember watching that. It was on at like 1 in the morning. I remember watching that game with my mom, and we were like, Jesus, they're going to lose this game. This team, they had a guy named Pulliam, I think, and he just couldn't miss. They made like 18 three-pointers.
Hello?
Hey, there was a small article in the Uranus Examiner that this is the turnaround year for Incarnate.
Really?
Okay.
Well, they've given up, as I said, over 120 points in the first 2 games.
What was that publication that appeared?
Uranus Examiner.
Now that's fake news. All right. Well, let's take a quick peek at the cyclone
Actually,
schedule.
there is a town that this hurricane is affecting called Uranus.
Seriously?
Yeah.
All right. Oklahoma Sooners, let's assume a loss.
They're going to lose.
So 0-2. Akron Zips.
1-2.
1-2. West Virginia at Iowa State.
I'm going to go, I think.
That's a toss-up.
That's a toss-up because just when you think West Virginia's good, they play no defense. I'm gonna pick that as a win. I'll give them a win there, but then I'm going to be a little more critical down the road. Keep going.
So 2-2. Texas Tech at Iowa State.
I'll give them that one. 3-2.
They're only doing home games for some reason. Jesus, sorry about that. And then the other home games are Texas Tech, we just said. Baylor at Iowa State.
I think they'll win that one.
K-State at Iowa State.
I think they're going to win that one.
2, 3. So
I got them going like 6 and 6 or
5.
7. I had them going 8 and 4. That was my kind of preseason prediction. Their schedule is hard, but it's not that hard, Tom. The Big 12's not that good.
No.
Baylor's not good. Kansas State, we saw Bill. This is not one of Bill Snyder's best teams.
Okay, at TCU on the 29th.
I think they'll lose that.
I do too. So that gets them to 3 losses. At Oklahoma State.
I think they lose that.
It's 4 losses. At Kansas, probably a win.
Yes.
And then at Texas.
That's the difference between going maybe 7 and 5 or 8 and 4. I'm going to give that to Texas. I gave them the benefit of the doubt with the one with West Virginia. To me, I got to trade off and give that to me. So that's about a 7 and 5 record.
Yeah, 7, 5, 8, and 4.
And that's about kind of where I had them. But they've got an easy home schedule. They really do.
They do.
But their road schedule is, it's tough.
Challenging, except for Kansas.
So we'll see. Then they got Incarnate Word. That's going to be another. That's their other victory. So they could go 8 and 4, but boy, that means they'd have to go. That means they'd have to go 8-3 the rest of the way. That's not going to be easy.
So you could get 20 tickets to Iowa State at Texas for $100.
You could buy 20 of them and get them for
$5 each, yes.
Hello.
But could you sell them? Do you think you could go out
Morning,
and sell
guys.
them? Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, the biggest story nationally all week long has been the hurricane coming in.
Yes.
And it's as if the athletic department at ISU was not paying attention, because you would have had to figure there's going to be some teams not playing this weekend, and there might be other teams looking to schedule.
So you think they should have waited?
Yeah, I think they could have waited a week or two.
But do you think they wanted to? I think they wanted to.
Better.
I think they wanted to just get somebody where they know there's not going to be any drama, and just we're going to get this victory, and it'll be like a glorified public scrimmage. That's kind of how I look at it. But I agree with you, though. They could have probably gotten a better opponent. I'm just not sure they're motivated.
I don't think they were looking for a better opponent.
I don't think they were looking for a better opponent, to be honest with you.
Well, you don't have to go too far back. Like during the 90s, Incarnate Word didn't lose any games.
This is their promo.
No,
Undefeated
but,
in the 90s. Incarnate Word.
Wouldn't you rather have at least a? I mean, you don't want to play, Alabama or somebody that's.
No, I'm with you. I would. Yes.
That's going to miss a game, but at least somebody that's maybe a little bit more respectable. I mean,
I would rather have that. I think even fans would. I just don't think. I think Iowa State is so concerned with keeping this momentum going, and they got to get 7 or 8 wins, and this will give them at least 2 for sure wins, probably 3 with Kansas. I'd give them 3 for sure wins on their schedule right now.
Yeah.
And I think
well,
that's...
the game might not happen if Incarnate Word makes the playoffs.
True, but they better start with...
They're off to a rough start.
Yes, they are.
They are. They could turn it around. So, all right.
Thanks.
Guys.
They've got 11,000 students.
Their stadium seats 6,000.
It's a beautiful campus. I've seen it.
The police department with 17 officers.
It's in San Antonio.
In December 2013, a university policeman shot and killed a student in nearby Alamo Heights during a traffic stop.
Jesus. This show suddenly turned
dark.
Violent, dark. Why are you going down this path?
I'm just reading what it says.
I mean, 1 minute we're talking ISU football, now we're talking
death.
So,
yeah, their stadium has 6,000.
But the campus is beautiful.
Oh,
I've driven by it. It is really nice. But no, in response to the caller, I agree with the caller. They don't want to wait, though. They want a sure victory.
Absolutely.
And so... Give it
and
to
they
them.
got her.
And they got
Their
her.
synchronized swimming team placed in the 2006 U.S. Collegiate Championships.
Wow. That always looks really hard.
And their men's and women's soccer teams have won numerous Heartland Conference championships.
Could you have ever done synchronized swimming, Captain? You think you could have been a synchronized swimmer?
Yeah, if you count getting in the water and then drowning, yeah.
Oh, you don't know how to swim?
No.
You've never learned how to swim?
I did. My father was a lifeguard, and he taught me when I was young how to swim, but I never could get the hang of it. And I'd always end up coughing.
Yeah, with swimming, you either know how to swim or you don't. There's no really...
No.
I guess, dog paddling is knowing how to swim, right?
Yeah,
as long as you
absolutely.
can keep yourself afloat.
Well, I can't. I can't keep myself afloat.
I've never been able to figure that out, but I also
in the water and in business.
To me, it almost seems like just when you jump into the water, it just seems natural. But my parents gave me lessons when I was a little kid, and that's our public service announcement for today. Besides, they should change hurricanes. Make sure you get your kids swimming lessons early, right, Captain?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Are those our 2 PSA announcements?
Well,
today?
Shane had them, and the grandkids have had them.
Shane,
hello.
I love you, Shane.
Don't worry, I'm here with a comical anecdote to save the show.
Thank God.
So, Suter, do you remember that Christmas party that you threw?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he probably doesn't. But me and Ted Supel conspired against Bud, and I bought some old nasty roses and drove over them with the car repeatedly.
Yes, absolutely.
And then I took it in to Ted, Dirk, hello, Dirk, and the real Dirk, not the fake Dirk. That's almost the fake real Dirk now.
Let's go on with the story.
So, Ted wrapped up those flowers in Supel wrapping, and I gave them to Ann in front of Bud, and Bud goes, "Where did you get those flowers?" I said, "I bought them from you." He said, he snatched them out of Ann's hand. He goes, "They look like they've been run over." And he started out the door in the middle of winter. He was so upset, and I had to stop him. And I'm like, "Bud, it's a joke. It's in my wrapper." I had to convince him that they weren't his flowers.
That was from, you got them at Walmart, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah.
This is like Garrison Keeler listening to Prairie Side Companion or whatever that.
Prairie Home?
Prairie Home.
Didn't he have a bad? Did something happen to him?
Hey,
No, I do remember that very well. That was great.
Was he touching
It
people
really
or
was.
himself, or what was
You don't get these kind of stories on the Jim Show or whatever they call it.
I wouldn't know.
What do you call it? The Jim
The Jim Show. Get on. Jesus.
Why didn't you make
that was a good story.
Because whenever he calls into you guys on Tommy, you both just through the whole time. They just keep going. The Jim Show.
He's a hell of a story spinner, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Hello.
That cement's not getting any softer.
What was
it? I don't know.
What was that? I didn't hear.
What was that?
Was it mean or was it a?
I don't know.
I didn't
understand it.
Damn.
I never could understand it.
May have been the greatest call ever, and none of us heard it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're not getting any.
Who's
softer.
not getting soft? What?
That's
What?
Enough. That's enough. We're not getting any softer. I mean, hey, these are your callers.
All right, I'll admit it. I don't get it.
Hello.
Why do I find that funny? Tom, I don't think does.
Tom's at it. Tom checked out after the Sam Suter thing. You're getting pissed off about that, aren't you? Yeah,
I don't care.
I could tell that furrowed brow thing when you.
To be honest with you, I had not thought of Sam Tudor for ages, and then the caller brings it up, and you keep bringing it up.
I didn't bring it up. Caller brought it up. What do you blame me for everything? Goddamn, Harty comes in here 4 times a week and blames me for everything.
That means I need to go on another vacation so
I
you
think
guys can rip me.
I don't rip you. We say it with love.
Yeah.
And concern.
Yeah, it's all love.
Yeah.
What do you mean concern?
I'm kidding.
Sure you do.
Yeah, more concern than love. No, but all right, let's get back to talking. God, we've killed an hour and we barely talked about the football game tomorrow. So what, are you worried about a letdown?
I'm worried that I'm not worried. That I'm not worried at all.
I've felt that way before, and I'm not worried either. I mean, I'm
worried.
But I go back to the same argument. They should not lose to Northern Iowa under any circumstance.
No.
But that doesn't mean you dismiss Northern Iowa and start focusing on the next opponent and because saying that it could be the greatest game ever at Kinnick Stadium. We live in this era now, age where everything's the greatest. Like this thing next week could potentially be the greatest game in Kinnick. People are saying it's going to be for the West Division title. I mean,
well, it'll be for a leg up.
I know, but for a West Division title, 1 game into the conference, how could you say that?
Well, you can't.
I mean, Wisconsin could always go 9-3 this year, people. I mean, they could have a couple key injuries. That Cephas doesn't seem like he's going to be joining the team anytime soon. I mean, I've got Iowa winning next week.
What if Jonathan Taylor goes down?
Then that's a big loss.
You bet.
What if another receiver or 2 goes down? I mean, I still think this Wisconsin team's more vulnerable than their teams have been over the last 3 or 4 years. They lost a ton on defense. They don't have Troy Fumagalli anymore as a tight end. He was a really good, dependable tight end. To me, this team is beatable. There's been other times where Iowa had no chance to win that game last year. It didn't help that they laid a big turd, but they were
even with 2 pick sixes by Josh Jackson.
They had no chance.
Nope,
no chance. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, if this game against Wisconsin ends up being a 34-10 Wisconsin victory, that's going to suck. And I just don't think that's going to happen. I could see Iowa losing. I think it's either going to be a nail-biter loss or a nail-biter win. I think that's how I look at it. And USC, I think Iowa will probably stumble a little bit early. You and Iowa maybe. But I just still don't think that it'll ever feel like Iowa's losing the game, and that's dangerous. Hopefully the players don't think that way.
Well, if the players do, then we're in trouble.
What scares me is we
do. I mean, they do.
Down.
Amani Hooker brought up a good point, though. He's like, we get 12 games a year. I mean, basketball teams get 35 and 40. Baseball teams get 50 to 65. Because we get 12. Why would we overlook one? Why would we overlook one against the in-state opponent that's got a bunch of Iowans on the roster who wanted to come here? It's pretty good logic when you think about it. Why would you overlook one? You get 12 opportunities to do this 4 times. I mean, football, like, what's amazing about football is how fast it is. After Saturday's game, we're a fourth of the way through the season.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
It
just flies by, and that's why Amani Hooker's like, man, every time we get a chance to come out there and play for the school and do the swarm, he goes, that's a big deal to us. We live in the moment. Because there was a lot of questions on Tuesday about looking ahead. Why? Because the media's looking ahead.
Well, and if our offense doesn't get on track here, we could very easily lose that.
Well, then when Kirk came out and said Amir Smith-Marset and Ivory Kelly-Martin probably won't play Saturday, right away fans are like, well, that's just Kirk playing it safe because he knows we're going to win this weekend. And I'm guessing that's more, no, these guys aren't ready and they don't want to jeopardize them for Wisconsin. But if Kirk thought they could play, Kirk's not the kind of coach to hold guys. No. He's not going to hold guys. And there's also this big belief that Iowa's got all these secret weapon plays. If that's the case, then why didn't they use any last year in Madison? A lot of people are saying, well, they haven't used hardly any of their offense. We didn't need it against Iowa State. Well, I mean, they barely won the game due to the offense's ineffectiveness. But I don't know if they're holding up. I don't think they're going to beat Wisconsin on trick plays. They're going to beat Wisconsin by out-executing them at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trick plays aren't going to win that game, I don't think. So we'll see.
But we got to see some offense. I think that's the big thing this Saturday is the offense has got to solve some of their issues.
And to me, though, we won't know if it has, because you could have watched that Ohio State game last year and said, wow, this offense has really solved all of its issues.
Yeah.
Then it goes up to Wisconsin. I have a feeling the offense is going to have some success this week. Just because Iowa's bigger and better and deeper, and I could see 175 yards rushing. I could see Stanley completing 60% of his passes, a couple touchdowns. And that may not indicate that the offense is fixed.
Yeah, you're right.
So we'll see. I mean, you just got to take it one game at a time, and I know people hate hearing that, but you do. The last 3 games against Northern Iowa have been the game with David Johnson in 14 was 24-23, almost midway through the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember thinking, God, are they going to lose to these guys again?
Well,
and that's what I wrote earlier in the week. To me, and I think you gave me the idea, Northern Iowa has earned the right to play this game right now just for what's happened in the last 3 games.
Yeah, absolutely.
They discontinued that series back in 14 after a night, and then the series was just Iowa outscored them 162-5 during a 5-game stretch. They came back and played. I think they beat them 95-0 in 1914. Then they discontinued it, and then when they got it back, there was a couple mismatches. But ever since 09, the series has been different. I'd rather play Northern Iowa and get the victory as opposed to having an out-of-state MAC directional school come in here. Why not play Northern Iowa, especially when Northern Iowa is proven to be as competitive as those MAC schools?
Hello.
I know he's got studs ahead of him, but when do you think Drew Cook will get a chance at tight end?
Well, it's tough. I mean, he's 5th in the pecking order right now. He's played some.
Maybe next year?
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, it's going to be tough because, like you said, you got Hawkinson and Fant, you got Nate Wheating, and you got Sean Byer. Then it's Drew. I mean, he has played a little bit, but I don't know. That's a tough question. It's just a matter of numbers right now, and they're just really deep at tight end. I do think. Well, we keep assuming that Fant's going to be gone next. Fant's got to pick it up. I mean, he's not. I still think he will be gone, and I think that moves Drew up a peg to where I think at least by next year, which is his last year, amazingly to think Drew Cook will be a 5th-year senior next year. I think you'll see him in the mix next year, maybe at some point this year, but they don't normally use 5 and 6 tight ends.
Whiting will be gone, won't he?
No, he's only a junior.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's only a junior.
Wow.
So
I think the other tight end has a better shot of going earlier than Fant.
I do too. I think he's better all around than Noah, but Noah's got the hot name. He had an incredible season last year, and I think people are looking at Noah as more of a playmaker. No, but I'm with you. I think T.J. Hawkinson's going to play, barring injury, 8 to 10 years in the NFL. He's a complete tight end.
And then I actually graduated from UNI, but I hope they get blown out tomorrow so we can see Peyton Manziel back there a little bit longer.
I'm with you.
I wouldn't mind seeing. This is one area where I do sometimes disagree with Kirk. Let's say Iowa's leading 24-14 in the third quarter. why not put Manziel in for a series, see what he does? But that's just not Kirk. And I understand that. Some coaches do that. That's just not the way Kirk operates with quarterbacks. And I would like to see Manziel in there when the outcome's not completely decided. And then if Stanley does get hurt.
Yeah, but can you imagine if he does that, he throws a pick six?
Yeah,
and
I
we
mean,
lose
Kirk's
the
in a
game?
the only way Kirk's in a winning situation then is if he comes in and does something good. The problem with that, though, if let's say they're 24-14, the offense has looked okay. Kirk's in a no-win situation because he either does what you say or he comes in and does something good, and then fans are like, "Gee, why aren't we playing him?"
Yeah, why aren't we playing him?
It is, and maybe that's
and
partly
then they
why.
turn on.
But I always worry sometimes because it seems like when they do have a quarterback change, the other quarterback is just starting from ground zero.
Well, and the fans, the segment of fans that had Stanley going pro after this season have already turned on him,
and that's just. That's hopefully that's a small percentage of fans.
I think a real small percentage, but it's there.
Hello,
you're on the auction.
Hey guys, regarding the new rule about playing true freshmen, what do you do if you get a good, comfortable lead? Do you play those guys now, or do you hold them until later in the season, just in case you have to play them at some point?
That's a good question. I think
something like that.
I think it depends on the depth of the position they play. But that's a good question, and those are the kind of decisions they have to make. You get 4 chances, but I also think it depends if they see a freshman, wow, this kid's getting better every week. They may take someone like that, games 9, 10, 11, and 12, use them then when you're trying to finish off a season. There's so many different options, but that's it. That's the challenge in figuring out how to do that, because let's say you play one of your good freshmen really early, 4 games, and you really like him, but he's not good enough to be starting or even in the rotation, then you can't use him down the stretch. I think a lot of it will depend on circumstance and position.
That's a real coaching dilemma. That's a problem that they're going to have to deal with, is trying to figure out, if a guy's not so good, that you don't need him, then maybe get those guys in early, but the guys that you think, well, they could play, then you'll kick yourself in the butt down at the end of the season if you didn't get them early. Get them in early when you could have,
Well, I think,
held them.
And there's no template for the coaches to follow.
I do think Julius Brents and Tyler Linderbaum are beyond the 4 they're beyond the 4 game thing. They're going to play. I think it's obvious they're both going to play. Now, Linderbaum possibly with Reif and Lattimore back. I mean, he's played in 2 games, but Julius Brents to me is in the mix. I mean, he's the 3rd cornerback, so he will definitely play. I think if you're a true freshman and you get to be where you're on the depth chart or pushing to be on the depth chart, you may be beyond the 4 games. But other than that, I think it's mixing and matching based on circumstance and position.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Okay, thanks. That is a good question, though. That is. I mean, and then Kirk has talked about that. I mean, he's even said, he goes, what I really like about this 4 game rule is a lot of times we'll get a freshman who at the beginning of the year is not ready to play. By the end of the year, he's ready to play. We could play him in the final 3 non-conference games in a bowl game. He could help us win those games and still not lose his eligibility. That's the beauty of this thing.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Is this the real one or fake one?
Fake dog.
Where they always hold guys?
Where?
That was poor.
Yeah.
I like
very poor.
I like how you guys. I like how you guys judge and evaluate.
Well, it's our freaking livelihood.
That
We're
sucks.
trying to make a living. If
he's
you're
generally pretty good.
Step up to the plate.
So he's done better than that before?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Does the real dog appreciate him?
That was his incarnate effort.
Okay. Well, he knew just by calling he gets the win, so he doesn't really care.
Well, just remember that flattery. What was it?
Imitation is the most serious form of flattery.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Hello.
Hey guys, I think there's in the FCS, there's a difference between, like, you see Alabama and them teams play like Charleston Southern or East Tennessee or Samford, and the teams around here, when they play an FCS team, more than likely play North Dakota State, South Dakota State, South Dakota, UNI. There's way difference in the competition in the FCS teams in like the upper Midwest than there are them garbage teams down south.
No, I mean, I don't
know why that would be, though, because you would think there's more talent down there, so you would think that would translate.
Pat, you read your Athlon magazine when they talk about the FCS, and it says that Youngstown, Northern Iowa, the Dakota schools, Western Illinois, all them teams make it. And in the last, 8 years, their playoff record is 49-9 against any other conference. And them teams are all within.
No, I see where you're. But didn't James Madison recently win the national title at that level?
Yeah, North Dakota State's won 6 out of the last 7. The only one that's not been won by them was by James Madison.
James Madison, which is in Virginia, right? So yeah, no, there is some really good FCS schools in the Upper Midwest and the Midwest. So I think that's cyclical.
But
too.
why?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know why either. But I mean, it's
here's a possibility.
I think it was 2 years ago, Coastal Carolina was averaging 40 points a game and was ranked 3rd in the nation. They went to North Dakota State and got beat 55-7.
No, you're right. Now here's a possibility. I think a lot of the players down in the Southeast who aren't going to get the SEC offers don't go to FCS schools because they have all the other schools in the country come play for our Division I program.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that have played from Iowa from the South that didn't have Alabama, Florida, Florida State, but they were better than playing for FCS schools. That's just me throwing that out there. There's better players in the Southeast than there are in the Midwest. I mean, nobody's going to argue that. And I think a lot of those players leave the Southeast and go play for other Division I schools as opposed to staying in the area and playing for the really good FCS, where I think a lot of the kids in the Midwest that aren't quite good enough to get those Iowa, they stay and go to North Dakota State.
Instead of going to...
Because they don't have the option of going down to the South because they don't need them or want them. I think that's just my theory.
That makes sense.
So, who knows?
I like it.
If you look at North Dakota State's roster, they got tons of kids from Iowa, Minnesota,
Illinois,
South Dakota. Right here. So I think you're onto something where you say, they do stay. They don't go, somewhere else. But I would rather play Northern Iowa than Kent State.
I would too.
That.
Yeah, me too.
I definitely would. No, I would too. I mean, I just keep.
Go
ahead.
I tried to email Gary Barta when you told me to email him about or email the school about just making a suggestion about trying to schedule a service academy.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that work? Or where do you get that? Because I got an email off Hawkeye Sports, but every time I send it, it would say a failure to deliver.
Do you guys have Gary Barta's email anywhere?
Well, isn't he just...
aren't they all pretty similar?
Gary.Barta at HawkeyeSports.com?
Try that.
Yeah.
Or try Gary.Barta at uiowa.edu. He might have that.
Is that Ann's?
Yes.
Yeah, those are the two. Try both of those, and then I would be surprised if you couldn't get him from there, because Gary does respond to emails. I mean, I've been told that he tries to respond to as many as he can.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks.
All right,
hey, thanks a lot for the call.
Okay, this just in, the bridge, the new bridge that people were walking over the arches.
Yes.
The city seems to have corrected that by putting snow fencing in front of the arches.
Well, I think that's probably temporary, but...
So
I don't think that'll deter the really... It's something.
They put up posts and snow fencing.
Well, that's...
Well, I mean,
being responsive.
People are crossing the thing, all the time now, walking over.
It's going to be neat when it's done. It really is. I drove over Park Bridge for the first time in a couple of days. I think Tuesday, coming back from Kirk's press conference, we drove over. No, it's going to be, once it finally gets done. But I'll tell you, I got caught in Mormon Trek yesterday. My God, is that miserable. So avoid Mormon Trek if you can, because it was, the whole right side is shut down. It's 2 lanes, and it's narrow, and then there's like a 4-foot drop-off from the lane you're in going. I mean, it's just... But
we were taking it, and there's a bicycle in front, and just a leisurely 10 mile an hour. And it was
it took me forever to go from where you turn onto Mormon Trek from Highway 6 down around to Benton Street. Just took forever. I mean, it's just I've never seen a town that's just more strangled by construction than right now. I mean, sometimes we blow this out of proportion and we bitch and moan about it, but
not this
time.
Uh-uh.
I think you guys, your morning show, when you and Jim are just getting it done, I think you need to get a city person on, explain why all this has happened at the same time.
Well, actually, we had Susan Mims on yesterday, and she said, there were some other things on the docket that were supposed to go right away, and she said, from talking to the people in the city, we've decided to hold off on some of these things because people have had it.
Yeah,
this is bad. I mean, I hate to judge other people's jobs, especially when I know nothing about it, but this seems like bad planning.
But it's
just seems
going on it all at the same time.
That's what I mean.
But they're different municipalities.
Through different municipalities.
But can't they communicate and stagger?
It might be funds are available now where they don't think they're going to be available.
So do we blame Trump? Is it his,
oh yeah, you always blame
This is
Trump.
Trump's fault, isn't it, Tom?
Of course.
I believe it is. I really do believe it is.
What if he starts tweeting about the construction in Iowa City? Would you like that?
Yeah, you could get smoothly from one end to the other. No problem. No, but at least the city is recognizing now that they may have a problem with the bridge.
Yes, they have.
Hello.
Good morning. Again, I had to call back. I forgot about yesterday when you guys were on, and Jeff called about the report of the guy with his pants sagging and all. All I could think of, Pat's not been around Iowa City or live long enough to remember, but I know you, Captain, and Tom will remember Gene Kloss in a KXIC news cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking that definitely Jeff needs to get some of those magnetic signs to put on the cement truck.
He is. I talked to him yesterday. He is.
What sign?
It's going to say KCJJ IC News.
Oh, okay.
They're going to be on this.
Good call. Great idea. Yeah. That's a great idea.
All right. That'll
All
work.
right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And hey, really, I've been in Iowa City longer than you have. You moved here, what, 94, 93?
Well, I went to school here, though.
Yeah, for what, a week? You were here
I didn't go for a week.
Okay, you were all right, but
I might as well. Well, maybe I attended classes for a week. I was here for.
But when
3
did you
years.
move here full time as an adult?
94.
Okay, I'd already been here 2.5
well,
years.
Actually, no.
95.
Hell, I had already.
Well, I was here in 94, and I was.
Bud already hated me by the time you moved here.
Bought our first house in 2000.
You know it. But he strongly, I don't know if hate, he strongly disliked me by 94.
Bud says you are more than welcome to come and sample some of his brats.
Yeah, what was the deal with brats?
Did you see any brats last week?
No.
He said he had them.
So what did you guys have to eat?
I had a piece of chicken.
I actually didn't eat last week.
So somebody brings fried chicken?
Yeah, I had a piece of chicken.
Oh, God, that sounds good.
And
my stomach was screwed up.
I didn't eat very much either.
No, because I was expecting delicious broth.
So who brings the fried chicken?
Somebody in Naya's tailgate. I'm not sure.
But
they always have just a huge
wow.
thing of fried chicken.
If you see Bud today, ask him where the brats were.
Where am I going to see Bud? Although we're doing the Regina game, maybe Bud will.
Yeah,
we'll get Bud up.
The Regina
we'll
game.
get Bud up in the booth and get him on the halftime show.
There you go.
Just have him on for like 10 minutes, just ripping the Press Citizen, and still thinking that I'm working for him. That's the best. So, but let's see what else. What's going on out there sports wise that we haven't got? This is
whipped right along.
This really has whipped right along.
Hello.
It's amazing.
That food sounded pretty good. Do you have to go to the game in order to eat, or can I just swing by?
Sure.
Yeah, just swing by.
Just swing by.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Is it?
Break your friends from under the bridge.
Wasn't that a song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
And I could have had a walking taco at GT's tailgate.
Those are good.
But I had just finished a piece of chicken, so I wasn't.
Talking ones within the Dorito bags with a little meat poured in, a little cheese, a little salsa. Those are big at high school events. I've seen people double-fisted with walking tacos.
Amy likes walking tacos.
Yeah, no, I like anything. I mean,
I do too.
As long as it doesn't have sour cream on it, I'm fine.
I'm with you. And no guacamole either.
No guac.
I don't like guacamole.
No avocado. None of that crap.
No. I don't like guacamole.
No.
Why would you order something good like a taco and then put sour cream on it?
Hello?
You know I'm community-oriented, right?
Yes.
Okay. So tomorrow, what time's the game?
6:30.
6:30.
At night?
Yes.
No, in the morning.
Yeah, no, in the morning.
I'm going to come in. We're going to do the radio show afterwards.
That's going to be terrible. But anyway, I am willing to go around and pick up all the homeless people in my pickup truck and give them a ride to Bud's tailgate.
No.
Not the one with brass knuckles.
No.
There's one out there with brass knuckles who's beating on people, isn't there? You guys have a story about it.
Yeah,
they're getting a little hostile.
Brass knuckles are coming back.
Weren't they big in the 70s?
Could we work with one of these guys that does the novelties, and we could get KCJJ brass?
Well, you carried them in your band as protection, didn't you? Didn't you always have brass knuckles?
No, we had shotguns.
Jesus,
did you really?
No.
Did you ever have a time?
I know a lot of bands that do.
No, I've never.
David Crosby, did you ever have a situation where you felt like, oh my God, this is going to, like a big brawl was going to break out in a bar you were playing or anything, or did that ever happen?
There certainly were fights, of course.
Would you get on the loudspeaker? Hey, can't we all just love each other?
No, didn't do that.
Not like he does on Cakert's board.
Didn't do that.
Yeah, he goes on Caker's.
Tries to put some perspective, and then they
just dogpile on him. You try to, honest to God, you really do. You try to put, logic, and they don't want
or love.
Logic.
One of the two. You're all about logic and love.
Logic and love. Good name for a band.
Hello.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey. Good morning.
You know what isn't coming back? Any phone callers for the gym class.
I didn't see that one coming.
No.
Harsh, mean, Captain's
Didn't see it coming.
Is that it? That's all? He wasn't even going to...
That's it.
God, you got them all trained now. It's like a network.
So are there I think we looked at this Monday, but there aren't any real great games this weekend, are there?
Not really, no.
For
we went
Big
through
Ten
them.
West?
No, there's always one week like this a year.
Yeah.
And it's usually often the week before conference play starts. And it will be interesting to have Don in on Monday to get him to look back. I mean, what's your score? 31-13? Is that
31-10.
All right, I think that's maybe what I either picked 31-10 or 31-13, but I think it's going to be a 31-10 that's maybe a little closer because but I will be surprised if UNI just comes out and just rolls over and dies. I think they're going to play spirited for a while, but like is almost always the case in these games, usually Iowa's depth and just overall strength wins. But like I said, that David Johnson game, that was 31-23, I believe, and that was closer than that 8-point.
Much.
I mean, it was like, my God, I mean, they may lose this game. So, no, it'll be interesting to get Don's perspective on how Iowa plays against Northern Iowa and what he thinks going into that Wisconsin game, because what's really interesting about Don's perspective is Don recruited Wisconsin's quarterback. He was committed to Connecticut. Mm-hmm. He was committed, and that's where he would have gone. So that's kind of an interesting spin on that thing. I'm sticking with my Iowa pick to win this game. I still think they're going to beat Wisconsin this year.
God, I hope you're right.
But then if they do and they're 4-0, there's going to be complete overreaction by everyone, including us in the media. I mean, there will be bring on Alabama, and you better bring Clemson too if you want to leave here with a victory. I think that will be the problem, and I think that will be Kirk's big thing at 4-0.
And Iowa fans will immediately go out and buy Indianapolis tickets.
Oh, well,
hello.
Good morning again, gentlemen.
Hey. All right, Chapter 2.
I'll be more gentle this time.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I think it's going to be a lot closer than that, Pat, because look at what you and I did against Montana. They were down 24-0. I think it was at least halfway through.
No, they were. Now I will counter that right away by saying Iowa's not Montana, and that was at Montana too. Mm-hmm. But no, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, so when you say closer, are you saying it's going to be similar to the previous 3 games that we've just had with you and I?
Yeah, I think it'll come down to within 7 points.
Okay, I mean it's hard to argue that right now. If it comes down to within 7, I don't think fans will be thrilled, of course, but I think they'll just be, God, we got that over with and move on. Don't you think that 2009 taught you never to assume anything?
Oh, my God. Well, we needed an act of God to win that game.
And that was an 11-win Iowa team.
And we needed something that had never happened in
and probably never happened
NCAA
again.
football and will never happen
But caller, you're right, though. I could see why you would think that. I mean, and you're probably not alone.
Yeah.
What's the spread, 20?
20.5 was what I saw.
Would you take Iowa to cover? Well, obviously, you're right on the border.
I would never bet for or against my team.
Okay.
Just because I can't do it even remotely objectively.
Okay.
Do you happen to know which of the UNI quarterbacks is going to be the starter?
I haven't. It's hard to say. I think you're going to see both of them. I mean, they're so different, too.
I think that's exactly right.
Eli Dunn, he's the kid from Grinnell, I believe. He's more of a pocket passer.
He's got more experience.
He's got more experience, but the other kid's got the ability to take a 3rd and 6 and run for a first down. So we'll see. I think we'll see both, but I don't know who will start.
Yeah, because if I remember right, I think Dunn was the one that started that Montana game.
Yes.
What's the other kid's name? Howell or something
Howell,
like that?
yeah. Dunn did not play well against. He did not play well early in that game.
No, but I think benched Dunn and brought him in.
Yes, they did.
And that's what kind of sparked the comeback.
Yeah, so we shall see.
But it was mostly with his feet.
And I think Farley probably likes having that uncertainty a little bit for the Iowa defense.
I would think so. Because you got to get ready for both of them.
Because the strength of Iowa's team is the ability to pressure the quarterback. I think we've seen that already. And if I'm UNI's quarterback, I would be really concerned because Iowa's defensive line is for real. I mean, it definitely is for real.
You guys going to watch any of the Oklahoma game tomorrow?
Sure, we can. Will it be? What time does it start?
11 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I'll watch all of it.
That's the beauty of a night game. I won't head over to Kinnick till probably 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm always one of the last media guys to get there.
And we'll probably leave about 3:45, so we'll be able to see the
I'll
11 o'clock games for sure.
I'll definitely be watching that.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how much they improved from last week to this week.
Yeah, because they better. Because like I said, Oklahoma, Iowa State's not going to sneak up on Oklahoma. That game cost them so much last year. And this new quarterback, he's not as good as Baker Mayfield, but I think he could be more destructive in a game like this because he can run like the wind. This Kyler Murray, he is so fast.
Oh yeah, he reminds me a lot of like Seneca Rollins.
Yeah, no, I could see that even
you could
faster.
Have 3 guys right in front of him ready to take it down. It's like he disappears and moves 20 yards to the left.
And he was a first-round draft pick in Major League Baseball. Think about that. Being the
Unbelievable.
starting quarterback of Oklahoma and a first-round draft pick. That is talent.
That is unbelievable.
That is talent.
Yeah, and where did he start out at? Texas A&M or Texas Tech?
I thought it was Texas A&M. I believe it was Texas A&M. I think so.
Not sure.
Yeah, that's right. Because Baker Mayfield started out at Texas Tech.
And Mayfield started there as a walk,
right.
and Mayfield walked on both programs. And I believe this kid went and played at Texas A&M for Kevin Sumlin.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right, boys,
all right.
have a good day.
Thanks for the call.
Thanks for part 2.
Wow, we've had, like I said, when you get calls, it just makes it go fast.
Even bad ones.
Yeah.
Well, I think we ended here.
We're done. You need a little time to do the police reports to lead into Hey Lang.
Hey Lang, and I got breaking news from CNN.
What's the breaking news?
The Manafort thing.
Oh, and the hurricane's still hanging out.
Well, we already knew. Didn't we already know?
Yeah, but they got
more information.
More information.
So. All right. Well, thanks for listening. AllHawkeyes.com. Get your subscription today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kate Baldwin. We're going to get back to Anderson in Wilmington, North Carolina shortly as we continue to follow the onslaught of Hurricane Florence in the Carolinas. But I do want to bring you some breaking news out of Washington right now. Right now,